happened to cause me to go in for my emergency surgery, and then that day what all went wrong, and then my recovery sort of period. Right, so what I should talk about first. I started experiencing the pains again, and me, Mum, kind of had an idea that it was like last time, except the pain just gradually got worse. We went over to Bendigo because last time I had it private, which, money-wise, this time we were trying to go public. We went over to Bendigo to a woman's health clinic, not going to name names, but they had practically said to me that I should, they didn't believe I had endometriosis, and that they thought that I should do physio for 6 months. Now, by this stage, I was in a lot of pain, and we were just like, what happens if something gets worse and I can't last 6 months? And physio wasn't going to do crap. So we decided to get a second opinion by going to the original gynecologist I went to the very first time, which was somewhere in Ballarat. Yes, you heard me right, Ballarat. We're in Castlemaine, so Ballarat's a bit of a distance. We went over to him, and he originally said, he full-on said, yep, you're going in for surgery. He had me booked out for the 4th of April, if I believe straight. Leading up to this date last year, things progressively got a lot worse. It got to a stage where doing a lot of things seemed to hurt me, so even something simple as lifting a laundry basket full of washing. I was in that much pain that I couldn't do it, and I was constantly hurting myself more by trying it, which wasn't great. I'm gonna say that right now. It was not great. It got to the stage where I was in so much pain, but at the same time my mental health was being impacted by that. I started thinking of myself as being a bit useless, a bit worthless. I didn't think I was ever going to get better. Because when you're going through that, it's more just the fact of, you feel like you're consistently going to be like that. It's like, there's no cure to this. I'm always constantly going to be sick, as they label it. The day before the surgery, I was having an alright day. I was still crap, but I was having an alright day. I was in a lot of pain, and I guess that's all I can say really. There wasn't really much that would have ticked it off to make it the next day that I went in for surgery. On this date last year, I woke up in the morning. I had recently done what you normally do in the morning. You normally just go to the toilet, wash your hands, have breakfast, whatever. After washing my hands, I started to get in a lot of pain. At first I struggled to even get up. I couldn't get up for a good 20 minutes. I was practically stuck in bed. My legs were like jelly, and I was in that much pain, and I started to get a massive migraine. It started to subside, that feeling, so I went and did my daily thing. I went out to the kitchen after washing my hands and after feeling a bit more pain, so I figured eating might help it. So I went out to the kitchen, I grabbed a hot cross bun, I had a bite of the hot cross bun, and ended up having to throw it in the bin. Well, the rest of it, I took a bite and then just couldn't finish the rest. I was in that much pain, and eating wasn't doing it any good. After that, I started to feel worse. I ended up walking into my room, a slow walk. I ended up getting to the foot of my bed, and I don't know what happened after that, but I was just in that much pain that a few seconds later I opened my eyes and I was on the ground. Which isn't the nicest thing to hear, but it's true. I ended up opening my eyes after a few seconds of what I can't remember. One moment I'm standing up, next moment I'm on the ground. And I don't remember falling or passing out at all. I couldn't get up off the ground. I was in excruciating pain. I ended up laying there for about 20 minutes and then having to actually try and use my arms to move myself closer to my cupboard so then I could grab my phone to contact Mum. By this stage, my pain level was getting worse. There was nothing I could do about it. I was going to have medication, but normally that didn't work in these sort of cases. So I contacted Mum. She apparently contacted Michael Carter and called me back, practically saying to pack a bag and that I was going in for surgery that night. Also in the conversation, I was still laying on the ground. I still couldn't get up by that stage, so hearing that, it was kind of like I was trying to drag myself by my arms onto my bed. She said be ready in about half an hour to an hour. I think it was like 20 minutes till I was actually able to get up and pack my stuff. And by the time she got back, I had packed all my stuff, but I was in excruciating pain. As soon as she got here, she practically said, grab your stuff, we're heading out to the car, and when we go to Ballarat, we've got to go to the clinic that Michael Carter, the gynecologist, worked at, that I may be staying over in Ballarat tonight. When we got in the car, we ended up driving over to the factory to see Paul. Yes, I'm talking to you, child. We ended up seeing Paul, and he was like, good luck, and all that kind of crap, you know. And then we headed over to Ballarat. That car ride was excruciatingly painful. I was already in excruciating pain by now, but it just kept on getting worse and worse to the point where I felt like someone was inside me cutting my lining and cutting everything or stabbing me. It was just the most painful experience I'd ever felt. After a long period of time, we had gotten to Ballarat. We went to the clinic. I wasn't in a good state. They asked if I wanted some water and wanted to lay down on one of the beds in there. At this stage, I didn't feel like laying down was going to help, so I just said, no, I'll be fine. I was asked practically general questions of like when was the last time I ate and all that sort of stuff. We saw Michael Carter. He's like, yep, you're not in a good way, you're going in for surgery. Meet me at the clinic, because by this stage it was roughly close to the time that he was finishing anyway. We went to the hospital. As we were going to the hospital, Mum went off to pay by card because we went private, so money. Mum went off to pay, and I got into an elevator with some random lady who literally had to hold my arm just to try and keep me up from passing out because I was in that much pain. I walked into the surgery waiting area. I spoke to the lady at the desk and ended up having to sit down halfway through the conversation, and she had to end up coming out and asking me some of the questions. After that, I sat in the waiting room for a while, waited till Mum came back up, was asked to go into the room, even though Mum still wasn't there. So I ended up going into one of the rooms, ended up having to take out one of my piercings because I couldn't get the other ones out, and was prepped for surgery. After I was prepped for surgery, I was made to lay in one of the beds and scrolled through Facebook for a while. Now, one of the most sort of I'd say one of the things that I really hated during scrolling through Facebook and just telling everyone that I was going in for the emergency surgery was that there were a few people, including members of the biological father's family, that messaged me and told me that I was just doing this all for attention, that I was just saying I was going in for emergency surgery. Now, by this stage, I'd already taken a photo and uploaded a photo of the band that they give you for surgery, and I'd already showed myself in a nightgown, well, the gowns they put you in at the hospital to get prepped for surgery. I was fuming. I ended up, after the surgery and after a couple of days, I ended up messaging them back with photos of evidence of the thing, and I still haven't heard back from them, so kick the negativity out of my life. But anyways, it was roughly around this time, to be honest, that I was wheeled in by a wheelchair to the little prep room where they did the bung in my arm and everything. I was given happy gas for that because I absolutely hate needles. So I was given happy gas for that. I felt like the room was spinning, so they had to turn it off for a while and then turn it back on. And then as soon as they put the bung in, they wheeled me into the actual surgical room. Hi Amy, you missed your part. By this stage, I was kind of like happy and stuff, but I was stressing as well. Obviously, you're just kind of like, wow, what happens if I don't wake up? All that sort of shit. So I had gone into the room where they were doing the surgical stuff on the bed. They got me to transfer to a different bed. And then they were like, okay, we're putting the liquid in now. And they continuously spoke to me, but in the background I was hearing Meatloaf. So that was a positive moment of that. I was just like, I was in the room and I was listening to music, so I was able to sing along to the music as well as talk to them. Aw, it's okay, darling. But yeah, so I was in the room. All of a sudden, obviously, like, if you've had surgery before, all you know is you kind of feel like you're awake one moment and then you're waking up. So I ended up waking up later on that night in the recovery area, and some lady was fixing the bandage that was around my arm, because apparently they'd managed to turn my arm blue during surgery because they did the bandage too tight because they took out my implant. And she told me that. She's like, yeah, they managed to turn your arm blue, and I'm like, okay. And she offered me an icy pole, which I gladly took. After finishing my icy pole, I got wheeled into the room that Mum was waiting for me in. Hey Lani, you also missed your bit. You're gonna have to watch it. Afterwards. But I got wheeled into the room that Mum was in after my surgery. I was put on the bed. I was on the bed, and they asked me to sit up when I could, and that I had to eat something and obviously go to the toilet like you usually have to do before you can actually leave, because we didn't know whether we were leaving or whether